Hollywood Matt Connolly with the double biceps. It is in the contract a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. Just going to make sure that the lawyers are happy the boxes have been ticked. They have seen one bicep there and a second bicep right there. The man to my right, but maybe to your left, depending on where you're facing and which part of the world you're standing on. You could be doing a handstand and watching a phone as you're doing that. So I don't know. I'm trying to cover all the bases here and be very inclusive for that, for handstand watching people. But it is the co-host, the co-founder, the co-breather of air, the co-wearer of clothes in this very virtual room. It is none other than the master of disaster, the king of sting, the count of Monte Cristo. It is Thunderlips, the ultimate male. It is the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year award. It is your friend and mine. It is none other than Dave Stockbridge. Welcome to Arm Wrestling Tonight.
Well, Hollywood Matt Connolly, we're back again. It's Arm Wrestling Tonight. It's your 5-night a week, half an hour of arm wrestling news and bringing to you some of the best up-and-coming talent, some of the superstars of the sport. And the man on screen right now is one of those superstars. He's appearing at Knuckles Up. It's this weekend. It's the 25th. If you haven't already got your pay-per-view, what you really need to do is to be heading over to the website right now, Knuckles Up, and just clicking the button. It'll take your money straight away. But the good news is, come the 25th, you'll be able to see this man on the table. He remains undefeated in his home country for over the last decade. No one comes close to him. So he has to travel the world in order just to find people he can compete against. And really, that's the job of arm wrestling promoters right now, just to find people that they can credibly put on the table across from this man. And of course, that's difficult because you've got to find somebody who is not just proficient on the table, but is absolutely massive. Because you can't put people on the table who pale in physical stature to the man that you see on screen right now, because it just looks silly. He's 165 kilos of muscle. He's a bench press record holder. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Maateiwarangi, the Beast, Heta Morris! Mate, I love that, because that almost takes up our entire screen. And so Knuckles Up, you're in New York right now. You've traveled over the last few days, literally halfway around the world. I mean, people do underestimate how far you have to compete to any event around the world, because everywhere is just so far away from New Zealand.
First of all, this is by far the best introduction in any podcast I've ever done.
Three minutes long, though.
Yeah, I mean, so probably for the last 2-3 years, I've done a bit of traveling for the sport and other things. And I guess the first few travels, you start to pick up little tricks and tips here on how to cope with the time difference and jet lag and that kind of stuff. I guess this travel sort of worked in my favor just a little bit, because I arrived at midnight. By the time I got to the accommodation, man, I was stuffed.
Yeah. So you arrived at midnight. What time do you have to leave New Zealand in order to get in New York at midnight?
6 weeks ago.
That's the weirdest thing, man. So my flight was at 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, and I arrived
7:30 p.m.
Either
Tuesday.
midnight. Yeah, it was either Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I arrived the same day. So
yeah, it's weird.
So you travel the whole day so you're basically traveling back in time.
Yes,
back in time.
Get there, but then it takes you 2 days to get back home.
Yeah, it does. So my flight leaves Sunday, and I get back to Auckland on Tuesday.
I don't think people entirely appreciate how difficult that is for an athlete. I mean, it's one thing if athletes in arm wrestling were being paid millions of dollars, like golfers or whatever, but usually arm wrestlers, they've got their own business, or they've got a job, they've got a life they have to attend to. And for you, it's almost like it takes almost a week, surely, to be able to just recover and get into a normal routine after a massive trip like this.
Again, so doing this like for the last few years, I remember my first trip was to Poland, and man, the biggest thing I learned on that trip was do not overpack. Do not overpack. Like pack what you need and pack a little bit of extra. I'll tell you guys this. When on my first trip, I took my bloody Xbox with me,
What?
and
How do you explain that at customs?
my luggage never showed up. It was a complete mess. So
Oh no!
yeah,
So lost
yeah.
the Xbox?
No. So they found it. It just didn't arrive in Poland. It went to like China or something. Yeah.
And so was it after that experience that you thought, you know what, I'm just going to cut back on this. I'm not going to put myself through
Yeah.
that again.
So yeah, started learning about that kind of stuff, like connecting flights. Try and get connecting flights that aren't too long in between the transit. Like 3 hours max, because you sort of just want to get that travel over and done with.
Yeah.
And when you get to the place, for myself, like one thing I tried, I arrived in the UK. When I went to the UK, I arrived at like 7 in the morning. And I tried my best to stay up all the way through till the night time. That was a big mistake. I think, like, some people say try to do that. I think you should actually try and get some sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
straight
especially if
away.
you've got to compete, like that's. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to be there in the best shape you can possibly be. And if you're
Mm,
fatigued and you're not feeling right, and then all of a sudden you
yeah,
start eating wrong, and it
yeah,
can lead to a disaster on the table.
exactly. And that's a lot of what I've learned of is like just eat what you normally would, drink what you normally would. Don't try and like overcompensate for like what you've eaten on the plane. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
still food. I used to do that. I used to try and like as soon as I got off, I was like, I need to eat. And then now you got too much sodium in your body and you're blowing up. So,
Mm. So
How do you go on the plane? Like, do you sort of taking up 2 seats yourself? Like, you're a massive man.
yeah, so I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of the travels in either premium or business.
Ah,
When I travel economy, I think that takes a lot out of me. Yeah.
mm.
My flight over from Auckland to LAX, um, the flight attendants and the people sitting next to me were kind enough to sort of move a few people around so that I could have a couple of extra seats next to me free.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, sir.
so,
You're going to have to go in overhead luggage. We have ourselves an athlete just here on the flight
we
with
have
us today.
we have a lovely crate downstairs that
And take your children with you. Yeah.
so you won't believe this. Like from LAX to New Jersey, Newark, we're flying and we're just about to come down. We're just about to land, and you can tell when the plane is descending. It starts going down, and then all of a sudden you hear the engines turn up, and then he starts taking off again. And we're like, oh, what's going on here? And then over the intercom, he's like, we've got a technical issue going on. The wheels aren't coming out. So we're like, oh, okay. So we're like, we're circling around for like an hour and a bit. And then he comes over the intercom and he's like, we're going to have to land the plane as we're running out of fuel. We have emergency services waiting for us on the runway. And he said over the intercom, he said, we do believe the wheels are coming out. It's just not picking up over the computer or that tells
The
them that the
sensor.
wheels are coming out.
Yeah.
So as we're landing, all you see is just this whole runway full of fire trucks, ambulances, police cars, and I'm just looking up like, wow, that looks pretty cool. And then just as the plane lands, you hear everyone start clapping, and I'm thinking, oh, that was actually serious. You know, it's serious when everyone starts clapping.
Wow, that's
That was
scary.
pretty freaky. But I'm tired as, and all I'm thinking is like, just get it over and done with.
I don't care if the wheels don't go.
Uh,
Just get me out of here.
You're like, just land. I don't care. We'll slide. I'll be all right.
Yeah, because chances are, if they're running out of fuel, they're running out of food, and you want to get out of there anyway. Like,
yeah.
so, tell us about the first time that you were invited to perform overseas, or to a big international show. How did that all come about? When did that happen for you?
It was after Over the Top Australia. I got invited to Armors,
Yep.
and that was my big sort of break into the world of arm wrestling.
Yeah.
So that was I was really excited for that.
And Arm was filmed in the UK?
In the UK, yes.
Wow, so a massive trip as well. And
That
were
was
you
a
away?
big,
Were you away for long for that one? Was it?
yeah, they actually travelled to, I forgot the name of the place, but we're in the UK. The Armors stayed in the UK for a week, did a few training sessions with Paul Maiden, the Health of Torture, and then went from there to Dubai and had that unexpected super match with Larry Wills.
Yeah. So that was impromptu, was it?
Yeah, so before leaving the UK, I was on the phone with Larry and Adam, and we were trying to sort out me coming and do some content with them on another day that was originally planned for me and Larry. I said, look, like I think I might just pull up because like my arms are smashed, like I'm completely stuffed. We're about to board our flight now. By the time we land, man, I'm going to be like 10%.
Mm.
And then so I just said, oh no, you guys carry on. I think I'm going to have to miss this one out. And then we land in Dubai, and I've missed like 10, 15 calls from Larry, and he calls again. I answer it, and he goes, "Oh, are you in Dubai yet?" I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Man, the other guy has pulled out. Would you still be keen to come and do some content?" And I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "Sweet as, man." He was like, "All good. We've got a Uber waiting for you out the front of the airport." So I said to him, I was like, "Oh, do you mind if we stop on our accommodation? I can have a quick shower." And he was like, "No, we need you to come down now." I was like, "What?" And then I said to them, I said, "Oh, just I can't really do much arm wrestling because I'm pretty smashed up." And we get there, and Adam comes up and is like, "Oh, so you and Larry having a super match?"
You get your arms on the table. It's like, oh, there you go.
I'm telling you now. After that match, oh jeez, far out. That was in
Memories.
Gold Coast. Yeah.
Oh, this is you and Larry, yeah.
Yeah. On the way from Dubai back to Abu Dhabi, I was in tears. Like I was in so much pain.
Oh.
Arm wrestling pain is by far unimaginable.
It's that non-stop toothache, like throbbing pain, isn't it?
This training session, we were out with the boys, with the arm wrestling crew. We were out in town. We were like on a level, and because me and Larry had spoke about doing some content the day after the tournament, and he had spoken about some exercise called squats or something. I don't know what that is. And then I said, "Oh, so man, usually after a tournament, I'd prefer to do like benching, And he said, "Oh, I didn't usually do benching," but I was like, "Oh, sweet as, man." And then we ended up. So after the over the top tournament, we all went out, and I think we got back to our accommodation at like 5 a.m. And then about 8, 9, I had a phone call from Larry, and he was like, "Hey man, I actually feel good. I wouldn't mind doing some benching." I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm completely. So I had asked the the receptionist at that gym. I was like, "Oh, can you turn the aircon on, please?" She turns the aircon on, it's like nice and cold. Larry goes up and asks her to turn the heater on because he's cold. I was like, "Oh, I'm like, I'm standing there sweating my ass off, hungover as hot as." Yeah.
Well, you're repping out 180 kilos here. Larry is also repping out, not as comfortably as what you are. I'm not sure
No, he
how
seemed to be
heavy.
struggling.
Oh
I,
yeah, how dare he struggle with 180 kilos?
yeah.
What do we get up to here?
And for people that might be watching this, what's emblazoned on your top there is Ayatora? Is that how you say it?
Try to get that up.
Aotearoa, yeah.
Aotearoa, and that's the Maori name for New Zealand. Is that right?
No, that is the name of our country.
So that's
So,
the
like,
name. Yeah.
yeah, for Maori, that is the name of our country.
Right,
Yeah.
because I'm guessing a lot of international people mightn't be aware of that, and it's not just a normal kind of jersey that you're wearing there, but it's you're representing your country when you're wearing that as well. So,
Yeah.
and you seem to be doing a bit to educate people around that type of thing as well. I notice, like often in your social media or in your profile or in your posts, you do make mention of that. So, is that something that's important to you to be using your profile now as an international athlete to be educating people on what it is like for Indigenous New Zealanders and that what it is to have that separate identity?
Yeah, I guess like I'm trying to show the world that that Maori culture is in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that we are the people of their land.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of government issues with our culture and what's going on. But that's a very sensitive subject.
It can be, and some governments have been doing a good job. I do actually with New Zealand. They seem to be making an effort to be shining a light more on that. But from an international perspective, I'm guessing that in North America and a lot of the places that you go to compete, most people would be quite oblivious to the political situation and Indigenous culture on the other side of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've spoken to a few people about our culture, and they've asked a few questions, and the answers I give them shock them. You know, they never thought that anything like that happened here in New Zealand,
Mm.
Aotearoa. Yeah, so there is a history for our people.
And it's a history you wear quite proudly. I recall you telling the story about your tattoos and how that relates to status and honor and how that's recognised. And it's not just say like Mike Tyson. It's just putting something on there, but
Yeah,
there's meaning and with respect to the design of the tattoo.
yeah, it's like a big cultural significance to us. Some people, you know, they are Maori. They don't, you know, and it's okay for them, but they don't want to wear it, and
Mm-hmm.
some do. But whether or not they do or they don't, we still represent the same thing.
Yeah.
Culture. Yeah. For me, it was a privilege and it was an honor to represent my family in wearing this and representing my culture.
And I will say it makes for spectacular photos because each and every time I show one of our AWE photos of you, people react like there's something in your energy that just radiates through those pictures, and people have a real visceral reaction. It's normally one of awe. It's normally like, oh, look at that guy, like they don't know why, but that's the reaction, So and that's them just looking at your face. They don't know about the rest of you by that stage, But it's for a lot of people, it's really intriguing, and they find themselves very much not sure why, but they like what they see. They almost feel compelled to have to respect what they're looking at there.
Yeah, it's nice. Like so we just came back from a gym. We had a bit of a training there, and we sort of walked in and as soon as you walk in, you can sort of feel the eyes, but it was more in, I guess, they were more interested than, I don't know if they're intimidated or not, but it was more interesting. They just seemed more like, well, they haven't seen anything like this before. And for me, like, I feel happy that people get to see that there is this culture on the other side of the world.
Yeah, and part of that culture, like that energy that we were talking about actually in this matchup with Marcus Tirai, is the manner, and that bringing the manner is something that Māori warriors have been doing for generations, and that's something that you're channeling when you hit the big tables of the world, like at Knuckles Up on the 25th. So tell us a little bit about your preparation for this one. You started off with a different opponent, and then you've had to adjust and prepare for another. What's it been like?
So since the last Knuckles Up, in my last matchup, after my match with Toshioki, my arm was completely disabled. It was inflamed from the back all the way through, and there was like a few things that just didn't feel like they were aligned properly. And so since then, my goal has been to get physio done, readjustments, range of motion, just get some health back into the shoulder and the arm overall. So since being back from Knuckles Up 4, I had been getting like realignments done consistently, like 3 times a week, working on shoulder health, range of motion. And I was doing that in preparation for nationals. And when I was in my, I guess, my peak stage for nationals, I felt way different. Like, I've not felt like this before. So I was a little bit worried because it was like unknown territory, And when I started my rest period, my arm, usually when I'm about a week out, my arm would feel full and tight, and it'll feel loaded and ready. This time it was completely loose. It was not tight at all, and I was like, man, this is so completely different. As soon as I got my first grip up, I was like, wow, this is new, this is different, and it feels way more efficient.
Wow.
So after that tournament, I was like, this is definitely the way I want to go. I need to manage my weight. I want to lose a bit more weight because I know that the bigger you are, the faster you get inflamed in a lot of areas. A week after nationals, I had surgery on the side of my head, and I was on the operating table. I was supposed to be on the operating table for like 2 to 3 hours, and then when I woke up from surgery, I remember thinking, like, what is this pain? Like, it felt like my arms had been sawn off. And later I find out that I'd actually been on the table for 8 hours, and they had left my arms hanging off the side for that long. Yeah, exactly like that. And man, my arms, no painkillers were taking that pain away at all. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't lie down. The only painkiller that worked was a nerve blocker called gabapentin. And as soon as they found out that gabapentin was working, they knew straight away that it was nerve damage. So going from feeling brand new to feeling broken was a bit of a yes. Like it was. So I spent 2 weeks, about a week in hospital after the surgery for my shoulders. And that whole week I was sitting in a chair just staring out the window, man, like battling, like, what's going to happen from here? Because I honestly thought my career and everything, like a lot of what I do involves my hands, my arms. I do tamako, I do arm wrestling, bench pressing, I'm just sitting there thinking, man,
Why couldn't
what's
this
going to
have happened to my legs?
These are my legs.
I could lose like a real useless 30 kilos there real quick.
But it was a bit of it was definitely a mental challenge, like I think there was a tipping point there, and I'm just glad that I tipped on the other side because um, so once I got out of hospital, I had to sort of readjust a few things. It was again, that was a new territory. I couldn't move my arms, so trying to get back to some normality, let alone where I was prior to that. So yeah, we managed to get back to a decent, I guess, percentage of where I was. So I'm not too down. I still feel good. My numbers came back within time, so yeah, I'm still confident.
And how long ago was all of this? Like 3 months ago, 2 months ago? It's pretty
Yeah,
recent.
mid-November.
Yeah. So I mean, this is all really recent. So it's fascinating that you've gone from feeling like great, loose, awesome, feeling like you're on track, and you've kind of got that conquered to this massive setback. Not only is it the operation on your head, which from what I understand was really close to your brain, so it was a really serious operation. This wasn't just just a mucking around 2-minute day surgery kind of thing. This was a very serious surgery that might have taken its own time to recover. But then on top of that, you've had this huge setback. Do you think some of that preparation or that work that you'd already done in terms of loosening things up and accessing your strength better, and do you think that was useful in the end in helping you come back as quickly as you did?
I wonder that myself too. You know what I mean? Like, would it have been better if my muscles were a bit tight? Especially being in that
The other
position.
way, that wouldn't have gone as far, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, man. That's a question that I can wonder about for a long time. But I'd say yes, and it's hard to answer that. To be fair, but I'm going to say yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Well, I guess all will be answered in just a couple of days' time, and so you're returning to Knuckles Up. You're becoming a mainstay for the promotion, and they really do put on a fantastic show. You've obviously enjoyed success before, and have you competed against your opponent on this card? Have you competed against him before, or gripped up at all with him before, and have any prior knowledge of your opponent?
I've never met BJ before. I've only heard stories and I've seen his matches. So
it's BJ Fakakis, is that right?
Yes. He's a big man, very strong. So it's definitely going to be a test, but I'm all about it. So yeah, I'm someone that tries to study not too much. You know what I mean? Like I'm someone that would overthink too much. So yeah, I know a little bit about him. So
yeah, know enough to win. That's what I'm thinking. That's all you need to know. Just know enough to win. So Matt, we're almost at that 30-minute mark. Perhaps if you'd like to turn to the comments and share what the world is saying about the matchup this weekend, or anything else that might be popping up in the Arm Wrestling Tonight comments section.
Absolutely. We've got a whole bunch of people that are big supporters of Maateiwarangi, and we've got Tez Puri, who's jumped in here, and she's saying, let's go Maateiwarangi Heta Morris. We've got Siren, which is a branch from the SA Titans Arm Wrestling Club. She's jumping in to say hello. Abhishek Singh from the Pro Panja League is saying hello as well. And of course, the staple man who's out busy delivering orders, but still takes the time to tune in every single time we're live. That is the Drew, the legendary Drew. What else we've got? Muscle
I'd like
Bite
to
here.
think with every order he's delivering, there's a little link to an arm wrestling podcast.
It's right. He hands out a card at the same time. just here's your food and go and watch this channel on YouTube. Muscle Bike has jumped in here as a fantastic guy from the UK, and as we said here, we got to meet him over in Carlingford in Ireland last year. And Maateiwarangi was there as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Carlingford.
Yes, there was James Stewart, I believe you had the match with over in Arm Gods,
Yeah.
and fantastic victory for you on that occasion as well. Stephanie Spencer has jumped in to say hello, and yeah, I think people were just chatting. Mr. Peanut is here as well. It's good to see him, and Tim Pipe has jumped in too to say big buddy.
Hey guys, thank you everyone for the support.
Well, we're all behind you here, and I don't know if you know this at all, but we are today also bestowing upon you an honorary Australian citizenship. Now, that might repulse a proud New Zealander like yourself, but you know what Australians do as soon as anybody gets any good at anything that is from New Zealand, we claim you as our own. And Russell Crowe.
I was just the same thing about 2 hours ago.
So, honorary Australian, doing it for Australia on Australian Day. They're in New York, along with the Australian contingent with Mario Tembakis and Ryan Bowen, and of course Ricketts. Kind of the same. Like, we're going to claim him as well. So, if you spend any more than 5 minutes in Australia, or have done in the last 10 years, and you're any good at what you do, Australian. Basically, that's
definitely
what we're saying. So, if you see Maateiwarangi, he's given it his absolute all, and he's walking away with the victory. He's doing it with that sense of Australian national pride deep down in his heart. So,
I'll let you guys have that.
So all the very best. I think it's this Saturday in New York, Sunday on this side of the planet. So people in Australia and New Zealand just adjust accordingly, because it'll be coming to you a day later on the 26th, on Australia Day, as it turns out. So, and to get that pay-per-view, you have to head over to the Knuckles Up website, where you can click right there and you can see the man on screen absolutely giving it all for his adopted country, and in New York. So big matchup, fantastic card, lots to look forward to, and of course we would love nothing more than the man on screen right now to be walking away with another big international victory under his belt. So thank you very much for joining us on the podcast once again.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Matt, and thank you guys for your continuous support throughout my journey. Much love to you guys, man. Thank you guys for everything you do for me.
Well, mate, we love you, and thank you very much for jumping on the podcast, and we can't wait to see you perform on Sunday night.
Cheers, guys.
God bless. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Maateiwarangi, the Beast Heta! Thank you very much, everybody in the comments section, and we look forward to talking to you again a little bit later, actually, because we've got Parvin Tabas coming onto the podcast in just a matter of a couple of hours, and so you're getting a bonus edition of the Arm Wrestling Tonight podcast this week. So we'll see you at the next one, and we'll look forward